Chaos surrounds us, whether it's the relentless pace of modern life, the weight of global crises, or the personal upheavals that shake our foundations. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, lost in the noise, but what if I told you that the key to thriving in chaos isn't about escaping it, but about mastering how you respond to it? Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." These words, written nearly 2,000 years ago, still ring true today. They remind us that even in the midst of turmoil, we can find calm, clarity, and control. In this video, we'll explore 15 timeless Stoic principles that have guided people through some of history's most turbulent times. These aren't just abstract ideas, they're practical tools you can use to navigate uncertainty, build resilience, and reclaim your sense of purpose. Whether you're facing a personal challenge, a professional setback, or simply the chaos of everyday life, these principles offer a roadmap to not just survive but thrive. So, if you've ever felt like the world is spinning too fast or that you're being pulled in too many directions, this is for you. Together, we'll uncover how Stoic wisdom can help you find your footing, no matter how chaotic life gets. Let's begin. The first step to thriving in chaos is understanding what you can and cannot control. This idea, central to Stoic philosophy, is often referred to as the dichotomy of control. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic teachers, put it simply, "Some things are within our power while others are not. Within our power are our thoughts, actions, and responses. Everything else, external events, other people's opinions, even the weather, lies outside our control." It sounds straightforward, but how often do we waste energy trying to change things we can't? Think about a stressful day at work. Maybe a project deadline gets moved up unexpectedly, or a colleague's feedback feels overly critical. These situations are frustrating, but they're also outside your control. What you can control, however, is how you respond. Do you let frustration spiral into anger, or do you take a deep breath, reassess, and adapt? This shift in focus, from what's happening to you to how you're responding, can be transformative. It's not about ignoring the chaos, it's about redirecting your energy toward what truly matters. So, here's a question to reflect on. What areas of your life are you trying to control that are beyond your influence? Are you obsessing over someone else's opinion or stressing over a situation you can't change? Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward reclaiming your power. When you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, you free up mental space to focus on what you can shape: your mindset, your actions, and your growth. This principle isn't just a philosophical idea, it's a practical tool for navigating life's inevitable storms. And as we'll see, it's the foundation for the rest of the Stoic principles that follow. How often do you let external events dictate your emotions? It's a question worth asking because for many of us, the answer is probably more often than we'd like to admit. The second Stoic principle we'll explore is cognitive detachment, a powerful tool for emotional resilience. At its core, cognitive detachment is about creating a mental buffer between what happens around you and how you choose to respond. It's not about becoming indifferent or unfeeling. It's about gaining control over your emotional reactions so that external chaos doesn't dictate your inner state. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most influential thinkers, exemplified this principle during one of the most turbulent periods in Roman history. As an advisor to Emperor Nero, Seneca faced constant danger, betrayal, and political upheaval. Yet he remained remarkably composed, even as Nero's tyranny grew increasingly erratic and violent. How? By practicing cognitive detachment. Seneca understood that while he couldn't control Nero's actions, he could control his own mind. He wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. reminding us that much of our emotional turmoil comes from how we interpret events, not the events themselves. This principle is just as relevant today. Think about the constant stream of information and opinions we're exposed to, especially on social media. A negative comment, a divisive headline, or even a friend's passive-aggressive post can trigger a cascade of emotions. But here's the thing, you don't have to let it. Cognitive detachment allows you to step back, observe the situation objectively, and decide whether it's worth your emotional energy. It's like putting on a mental filter, letting in what serves you and letting go of what doesn't. So, how can you start practicing this in your own life? One practical step is to limit your exposure to external triggers that drain your peace. For example, if scrolling through social media leaves you feeling anxious or frustrated, consider setting boundaries, whether that's reducing your screen time, muting certain accounts, or even taking a digital detox. The goal isn't to avoid reality, but to create space for clarity and calm. Here's a question to reflect on. What external triggers can you detach from to find inner peace? Is it the news cycle, a toxic relationship, or perhaps the pressure to constantly compare yourself to others? By identifying these triggers and consciously choosing not to let them control your emotions, you're taking a powerful step toward emotional resilience. Cognitive detachment isn't about shutting out the world. It's about reclaiming your power to respond to it with intention and strength. And as we'll see, this principle sets the stage for even deeper Stoic practices that can transform how you navigate chaos. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Do not act as if you had 10,000 years to live. The inescapable is hanging over your head. While you live, while it is in your power, be good." These words cut to the heart of the third Stoic principle, embracing the present moment. In a world that constantly pulls us in multiple directions, juggling work, relationships, and endless to-do lists, it's easy to lose sight of the here and now. We're either replaying the past or worrying about the future, rarely giving ourselves the gift of full presence. But Stoicism teaches us that the present moment is all we truly have. It's where life happens, where decisions are made, and where peace can be found, even in the midst of chaos. The Stoics understood that time is our most precious resource, and yet it's the one we often squander. Think about how much of your day is spent multitasking, checking emails while eating lunch, scrolling through your phone during a conversation, or planning tomorrow's tasks while neglecting today's. This constant division of attention not only drains your energy but also robs you of the richness of the present. The Stoic solution: cultivate presence. It's not about ignoring responsibilities or avoiding planning. It's about fully engaging with what's in front of you, one moment at a time. One practical way to practice this is through mindful breathing. It's a simple yet powerful exercise that anchors you in the present. Here's how it works. Take a few minutes each day to sit quietly, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. Notice the sensation of air entering and leaving your body. If your mind starts to wander, which it will, gently bring your attention back to your breath. This practice isn't about achieving perfection. It's about training your mind to return to the present over and over again. Over time, this builds a habit of presence that can transform how you experience life. Another tool is journaling. The Stoics were avid journalers, using writing as a way to reflect on their thoughts, actions, and emotions. Try setting aside a few minutes each evening to write about your day. What moments stood out? Where did you feel most present, and where did you feel distracted? This practice not only helps you process your experiences, but also sharpens your awareness of how you're spending your time. So, here's a question to reflect on. How can you bring more focus to the present moment in your daily life? Is it by setting boundaries with technology, dedicating time to mindfulness, or simply pausing to appreciate the small joys around you? The beauty of this principle is that it's accessible to everyone, no matter how chaotic your life may feel. By embracing the present, you're not just surviving the chaos, you're finding meaning and peace within it. And as we'll see, this focus on presence lays the groundwork for even more profound Stoic practices that can help you thrive. Chaos is not the enemy, it's the training ground for resilience. This might sound counterintuitive, especially when life feels like it's throwing one challenge after another at you. But the Stoics believed that adversity isn't something to avoid or fear. It's an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Epictetus, who endured slavery and exile, put it this way: difficulties are things that show what men are. In other words, it's not the absence of hardship that defines us, but how we rise to meet it. Consider a modern example. Imagine losing a job unexpectedly. At first, it might feel like a devastating blow, a disruption to your plans, your security, and your identity. But over time, as you navigate the uncertainty, you might discover new skills, explore different career paths, or even realize that your true passion lies elsewhere. What initially felt like chaos could become the catalyst for a more fulfilling life. This is the essence of Stoic resilience, seeing challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities to uncover your inner strength. One powerful way to cultivate this mindset is through journaling. The Stoics were firm believers in the practice of reflecting on their struggles, not to dwell on them, but to extract lessons and build resilience. Try this at the end of each day. Write about a challenge you faced. What did it teach you? How did you respond? What could you do differently next time? This simple exercise shifts your perspective, helping you see adversity as a teacher rather than a tormentor. Resilience isn't about bouncing back instantly or pretending everything is fine. It's about embracing the process of growth even when it's uncomfortable. Think of it like building a muscle. You don't get stronger by avoiding the weight. You get stronger by lifting it again and again. The same is true for life's challenges. Each time you face a difficulty, you're not just surviving it, you're building the mental and emotional strength to handle whatever comes next. So here's a question to reflect on. What recent adversity has taught you the most about your strength? Maybe it was a personal loss, a professional setback, or even a small daily frustration that pushed you to adapt and grow. By recognizing the lessons in these moments, you're not just enduring chaos, you're transforming it into a source of resilience. And as we'll see, this principle is just the beginning of how Stoic wisdom can help you thrive, no matter what life throws your way. Heraclitus, the ancient Greek philosopher, once said, "No man ever steps in the same river twice." His words capture a profound truth: change is the only constant in life. The Stoics took this idea to heart, teaching that resistance to change is the root of much of our suffering. Instead of clinging to what we cannot hold onto, they urged us to accept the natural flow of life, its ups, downs, and inevitable shifts. This principle isn't about passive resignation, it's about finding peace in the face of impermanence. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, exemplified this mindset. Despite ruling one of the most powerful empires in history, he never lost sight of life's fleeting nature. In his personal writings, he often reflected on mortality, reminding himself that even the grandest achievements and most cherished relationships are temporary. "You could leave life right now," he wrote. "Let that determine what you do and say and think." This wasn't a morbid fixation, but a way to live more fully, appreciating each moment without clinging to it. Think about how this applies to your own life. How often do we resist change, whether it's a career shift, a relationship ending, or even something as simple as a change in plans? We cling to what's familiar, even when it no longer serves us, because the unknown feels unsettling. But what if, instead of resisting, we learn to adapt? The Stoics believed that acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It means recognizing that change is a natural part of life and finding strength in our ability to flow with it. Here's a practical way to start. The next time you face an unexpected change, pause and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Maybe a cancelled plan gives you an opportunity to rest or pursue a neglected hobby. Perhaps a job loss opens the door to a new career path you hadn't considered. By shifting your focus from what you've lost to what you might gain, you're not just enduring change, you're embracing it as a chance to grow. So here's a question to reflect on. How can you practice acceptance in your own life? Is there a change you've been resisting, a move, a breakup, or even a shift in your daily routine? What might happen if you stopped fighting it and instead looked for the opportunities it brings? Change can be uncomfortable, even painful, but it's also where growth happens. By accepting its inevitability, you're not just surviving life's chaos, you're learning to thrive within it. And as we'll see, this principle is a cornerstone of Stoic wisdom, offering a path to resilience and peace no matter how turbulent the world around you becomes. How do you maintain calm when everything around you is falling apart? It's a question that feels especially relevant in today's fast-paced, unpredictable world. The Stoics had a word for this kind of calm, equanimity. It's the ability to remain steady and composed no matter what's happening around you. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most eloquent voices, wrote extensively about this idea. He believed that true strength lies not in avoiding chaos but in facing it with a balanced mind. A gem cannot be polished without friction, he said, nor a man perfected without trials. In other words, it's through challenges that we develop the resilience to stay calm under pressure. Let's bring this into a modern context. Imagine you're at work and suddenly a major project falls apart. Deadlines are missed, tempers flare, and the pressure feels overwhelming. In moments like these, it's easy to get swept up in the chaos, reacting impulsively, lashing out, or shutting down. But what if instead you paused and reminded yourself of Seneca's wisdom? What if you chose to respond with equanimity, focusing on what you can control, your actions, your words, and your mindset? This shift doesn't just help you navigate the crisis, it also sets a tone of calm for everyone around you. So, how can you cultivate this kind of balance in your own life? One practical tool is daily reflection. Take a few minutes each evening to review your day. Ask yourself, where did I lose my calm? What triggered me? And how did I respond? This isn't about judging yourself, it's about learning. Over time, you'll start to notice patterns, situations, or people that tend to disrupt your peace, and you can prepare yourself to handle them with greater composure. Another strategy is to practice grounding techniques in moments of stress. For example, when you feel overwhelmed, try the 5 senses exercise. Pause and name one thing you can see, one thing you can hear, one thing you can touch, one thing you can smell, and one thing you can taste. This simple practice brings you back to the present moment, helping you regain your balance and clarity. Here's a question to reflect on. What strategies help you stay balanced in turbulent times? Is it a daily meditation practice, a walk in nature, or perhaps a conversation with a trusted friend? The key is to find what works for you and make it a consistent part of your routine. Equanimity isn't about never feeling stress or frustration. It's about not letting those emotions control you. By developing this skill, you're not just surviving chaos, you're mastering it. And as we'll see, this principle is a stepping stone to even deeper Stoic practices that can transform how you navigate life's challenges. Musonius Rufus, a Stoic teacher known for his practical wisdom, once said, "How can a person become courageous if he only seeks comfort? How can he learn self-control if he never denies himself anything?" These questions cut to the heart of the 7th Stoic principle, practicing voluntary discomfort. It's an idea that might sound counterintuitive at first. Why would anyone willingly choose hardship? But the Stoics believed that by embracing small, manageable challenges, we prepare ourselves to face life's inevitable chaos with greater strength and resilience. Take Cato the Younger, a Roman statesman and Stoic philosopher, as an example. Despite his wealth and status, Cato lived a life of simplicity, often choosing to walk barefoot in harsh weather or wear plain clothing. These weren't acts of self-punishment, they were deliberate exercises in self-discipline. By voluntarily stepping into discomfort, Cato trained himself to remain steadfast in the face of adversity. He understood that comfort, while pleasant, can make us soft, leaving us unprepared for life's unpredictability. So, how can we apply this principle in our modern lives? One way is through practices like intermittent fasting or cold showers. These might seem small, even trivial, but they're powerful tools for building mental toughness. When you choose to skip a meal or step into a cold shower, you're not just testing your physical endurance, you're training your mind to stay calm and focused under stress. Over time, these small acts of discomfort can help you develop a deeper sense of control and confidence, making it easier to navigate life's bigger challenges. Here's a question to reflect on. What small discomforts can you embrace to strengthen your resilience? Maybe it's waking up an hour earlier to meditate, taking a break from social media, or even walking instead of driving for short distances. The goal isn't to make life harder for its own sake, but to build the mental and emotional muscles that help you thrive in chaos. By practicing voluntary discomfort, you're not just preparing for the storms of life, you're learning to dance in the rain. And as we'll see, this principle is a stepping stone to even deeper Stoic practices that can transform how you approach challenges, both big and small. Every obstacle is an opportunity in disguise. This bold statement lies at the heart of the 8th Stoic principle, reframing challenges as opportunities. Marcus Aurelius, who faced countless trials during his reign as emperor, wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the very things that seem to block our path can become the stepping stones to our growth, if we choose to see them that way. Consider a modern example. Imagine you've been passed over for a promotion at work. At first, it might feel like a crushing blow, a sign that you're not good enough or that your efforts have gone unnoticed. But what if, instead of dwelling on the disappointment, you used it as a chance to reflect and grow? Maybe it's an opportunity to develop new skills, seek feedback, or even explore a different career path that aligns more closely with your passions. The setback hasn't changed, but your perspective has, and that shift can transform the entire experience. The Stoics called this practice reframing, and it's a powerful tool for resilience. It's not about denying the difficulty of a situation or pretending everything is fine. It's about looking for the hidden potential within the challenge. For example, when faced with a difficult conversation, instead of dreading it, you might see it as a chance to improve your communication skills or deepen a relationship. When confronted with a financial setback, you could view it as an opportunity to reassess your priorities and build better habits. One practical way to practice reframing is through journaling. At the end of each day, write down one challenge you faced and then brainstorm how it could be an opportunity for growth. Maybe a missed deadline taught you the importance of time management, or a disagreement with a friend highlighted areas where you could improve your empathy. Over time, this exercise trains your mind to look for the silver lining, even in the most difficult situations. So, here's a question to reflect on. How can you view your current challenges as opportunities? Is there a setback or obstacle in your life that, with a shift in perspective, could become a catalyst for growth? By reframing your challenges, you're not just enduring them, you're transforming them into tools for building resilience, wisdom, and strength. And as we'll see, this principle is a gateway to even deeper Stoic practices that can help you thrive, no matter what life throws your way. How much of your happiness depends on others' opinions? It's a question worth asking, especially in a world where social media metrics, workplace feedback, and societal expectations often feel like the measure of our worth. The ninth Stoic principle, letting go of external validation, challenges us to rethink where we place our sense of value. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher who rose from slavery to become one of history's most influential teachers, put it bluntly: if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In other words, true growth begins when you stop seeking approval from others and start focusing on your own standards. Seneca, another towering figure in Stoicism, lived this principle in a profound way. Despite his wealth and influence as an advisor to Emperor Nero, Seneca often withdrew from public life, rejecting the applause and admiration of the Roman elite. He understood that chasing external validation was a never-ending race, one that left you exhausted and unfulfilled. In his letters, he wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." This wasn't just about material wealth, it was about the poverty of constantly seeking approval from others. So, how can we apply this principle in our modern lives? One practical step is to reduce your reliance on social media likes and comments. These platforms are designed to make us crave validation, but they often leave us feeling emptier than before. Try this experiment for a week. Post something without checking the number of likes or responses. Notice how it feels to share something simply because it matters to you, not because you're seeking external approval. This small act can be a powerful reminder that your worth isn't tied to others' opinions. Another way to practice self-sufficiency is to set personal goals that align with your values, not societal expectations. For example, instead of striving for a promotion because it looks impressive to others, focus on work that brings you fulfillment and aligns with your purpose. When you measure success by your own standards, you're less likely to be swayed by the opinions of others. Here's a question to reflect on. What would it feel like to free yourself from the need for external validation? Imagine a life where your sense of worth comes from within, where you're guided by your own principles rather than the approval of others. It's not about rejecting feedback or isolating yourself. It's about finding a deeper, more stable source of confidence. By letting go of external validation, you're not just surviving the chaos of others' opinions. You're thriving on your own terms, and as we'll see, this principle opens the door to even greater Stoic practices that can help you live with authenticity and purpose. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." These words remind us that even in the midst of chaos, there is always something to be grateful for. This brings us to the 10th Stoic principle, practicing gratitude amid chaos. It's not about ignoring the challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It's about finding moments of beauty and meaning, even when life feels overwhelming. The Stoics believed that gratitude is a powerful antidote to despair. By focusing on what we have rather than what we lack, we shift our perspective and cultivate a sense of abundance. Epictetus, who endured immense hardship as a slave, taught that even in the darkest times we can find reasons to be thankful. "He is a wise man," he said, "who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." This mindset doesn't erase the pain of difficult circumstances, but it helps us see beyond them, finding light even in the shadows. Let's bring this into a modern context. Imagine you're going through a tough period. Maybe you've lost a job, or a relationship has ended, or you're simply feeling the weight of daily stress. It's easy to focus on what's going wrong, but what if you took a moment to notice what's still going right? Maybe it's the warmth of a morning coffee, the sound of birds outside your window, or the support of a friend who checks in on you. These small joys might seem insignificant, but they're reminders that even in chaos, life offers moments of grace. One practical way to cultivate this mindset is through daily gratitude journaling. Each evening, take a few minutes to write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be grand or life-changing. They can be as simple as a good meal, a kind word, or a moment of quiet. Over time, this practice trains your mind to seek out the positive, even in difficult circumstances. It's like building a mental reservoir of gratitude that you can draw from when life feels heavy. Here's a question to reflect on. What can you be grateful for, even in the midst of chaos? Is it the resilience you've discovered in yourself, the kindness of others, or the small pleasures that bring you comfort? By practicing gratitude, you're not just surviving the storm, you're finding moments of peace and joy within it. And as we'll see, this principle is a stepping stone to even deeper Stoic practices that can help you navigate life's challenges with grace and strength. In chaos, your character is your anchor. This is the essence of the 11th Stoic principle, focusing on virtue above all else. The Stoics believed that no matter how turbulent the world becomes, your integrity, wisdom, and moral compass remain within your control. Epictetus, the philosopher who turned adversity into wisdom, put it simply: first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. In other words, your actions should reflect the person you aspire to be, even when life feels uncertain or overwhelming. Take Socrates, one of history's most iconic figures, as an example. Faced with a choice between compromising his principles or accepting a death sentence, he chose the latter. His commitment to truth and virtue was unshakable, even in the face of immense personal cost. While most of us won't face such extreme choices, Socrates' example reminds us that our character is tested not in moments of ease, but in moments of challenge. It's in chaos that our true values come to light. So, how can we apply this principle in our daily lives? Start by identifying your core values. What matters most to you? Honesty, compassion, courage, or perhaps resilience? Once you've clarified these, use them as a guide for your decisions, big and small. For instance, if honesty is a core value, you might choose to speak truthfully in a difficult conversation, even if it's uncomfortable. If compassion is a priority, you could make an effort to listen deeply to someone in need, even when you're busy or stressed. These small acts of alignment build a life of integrity, one decision at a time. Here's a question to reflect on. How can you prioritize virtue in your decisions today? Is there a situation where you've been tempted to compromise your values for convenience or approval? What would it look like to choose differently? By focusing on virtue, you're not just navigating chaos, you're shaping it into an opportunity to live with purpose and authenticity. This principle isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Every time you choose to act in alignment with your values, you strengthen your character and deepen your resilience. And as we'll see, this focus on virtue is a cornerstone of Stoic wisdom, offering a path to inner stability no matter how turbulent the world around you becomes. How much of your stress comes from wanting more? It's a question that might hit close to home, especially in a world that constantly tells us we need the latest gadget, the perfect body, or the most enviable lifestyle. The 12th Stoic principle, limiting your desires to reduce suffering, offers a counterintuitive but deeply liberating solution. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most eloquent voices, wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." In other words, our endless pursuit of more money, more status, more possessions often leaves us feeling emptier, not fuller. The Stoics believe that desire, when left unchecked, is a source of endless dissatisfaction. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. No matter how much you pour in, it never feels like enough. But what if, instead of chasing after what we don't have, we learn to appreciate what we do? This isn't about rejecting ambition or settling for less. It's about finding contentment in simplicity and freeing ourselves from the constant pull of wanting. Let's bring this into a modern context. Think about the last time you bought something new, a piece of clothing, a tech gadget, or even a luxury item. How long did the excitement last? For many of us, the thrill fades quickly, replaced by the next thing we need. This cycle of desire and disappointment can leave us feeling perpetually unsatisfied, always chasing the next high. But what if you broke the cycle? What if you chose to declutter your life, not just physically but mentally, letting go of the things that no longer serve you? One practical way to start is through mindful consumption. Before making a purchase, ask yourself, do I really need this, or am I buying it to fill a void? This simple pause can help you distinguish between genuine needs and fleeting desires. Another approach is to declutter your space, letting go of items that no longer bring you joy or serve a purpose. This act of simplification isn't just about creating a tidier home. It's about creating a clearer mind, free from the weight of excess. Here's a question to reflect on. What desires can you let go of to find greater peace? Is it the need for constant validation, the pressure to keep up with trends, or perhaps the pursuit of perfection in every area of your life? By limiting your desire, you're not just reducing stress, you're creating space for what truly matters. And as we'll see, this principle is a gateway to even deeper Stoic practices that can help you live with greater clarity, purpose, and joy. Seneca once wrote, "What is quite unlooked for is more crushing in its effect, and unexpectedness adds to the weight of a disaster." This is a reason for ensuring that nothing ever takes us by surprise. This idea lies at the heart of the 13th Stoic principle, prepare for the worst, hope for the best, known as premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. This practice involves mentally rehearsing potential challenges to reduce their emotional impact when they arise. It's not about dwelling on negativity or expecting the worst at every turn. It's about building resilience by confronting fears head-on. Take, for example, the Roman general Scipio Africanus, who famously prepared for battle by envisioning every possible outcome: victory, defeat, and everything in between. By imagining the worst-case scenarios, he wasn't paralyzed by fear. Instead, he was ready to adapt, no matter what the battlefield threw at him. This kind of preparation didn't just make him a better leader, it gave him the mental clarity to act decisively in the face of chaos. So, how can we apply this principle in our modern lives? One practical way is through contingency planning. Whether it's a career setback, a financial crisis, or even a personal loss, taking the time to think through what-if scenarios can help you feel more in control. For instance, if you're worried about losing your job, you might update your resume, build an emergency fund, or explore new skills that could open up alternative career paths. These steps don't just prepare you for the worst, they also give you the confidence to face uncertainty with calm and clarity. Another approach is to practice mental rehearsal. Before a big presentation, a difficult conversation, or even a challenging day, take a few moments to visualize potential obstacles and how you'll handle them. What if the technology fails during your presentation? What if the conversation takes an unexpected turn? By mentally preparing for these possibilities, you're not just reducing anxiety, you're equipping yourself to respond with poise and adaptability. Here's a question to reflect on. How can you prepare for uncertainty without letting fear take over? Is there a situation in your life where premeditatio malorum could help you feel more grounded and ready? Remember, this practice isn't about expecting disaster, it's about building the mental resilience to handle whatever comes your way. By preparing for the worst, you're not just surviving chaos, you're mastering it. And as we'll see, this principle is a stepping stone to even deeper Stoic practices that can help you thrive in the face of life's unpredictability. Even in chaos, kindness is a strength. This might seem counterintuitive when the world feels unstable. It's easy to turn inward, focusing solely on survival. But the Stoics believed that compassion isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled an empire during times of war and plague, wrote extensively about the idea of universal kinship. He reminded himself, "What injures the hive injures the bee." In other words, we're all connected, and the well-being of others is inseparable from our own. Think about a modern example. During natural disasters or global crises, we often see incredible acts of kindness, neighbors helping neighbors, strangers offering support, communities coming together. These moments remind us that even in the darkest times, compassion has the power to unite and uplift. It's not about ignoring your own struggles. It's about recognizing that extending kindness to others can also strengthen your own resilience. So, how can you cultivate compassion in your own life, especially when you're facing challenges? One practical way is through small, intentional acts of kindness. It doesn't have to be grand or time-consuming. Holding the door for someone, offering a genuine compliment, or simply listening when someone needs to talk. These gestures might seem small, but they create ripples of positivity, both for others and for yourself. Here's a question to reflect on. How can you extend compassion to others even when you're struggling? Maybe it's checking in on a friend who's going through a tough time, volunteering for a cause you care about, or simply practicing patience with those around you. Compassion isn't about being perfect or having all the answers. It's about showing up even in small ways and reminding yourself and others that we're not alone in this chaos. By cultivating compassion, you're not just surviving the storm, you're helping others weather it too. And as we'll see, this principle is a bridge to the final Stoic practice, one that ties all these lessons together and offers a profound way to navigate life's challenges with grace and purpose. Seneca once wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." This stark reminder brings us to the 15th and final Stoic principle, remembering your mortality. Known as memento mori, this practice isn't about dwelling on death in a morbid way. It's about using the awareness of life's impermanence to live with greater intention and focus. The Stoics believed that by keeping the inevitability of death in mind, we're better able to prioritize what truly matters and let go of what doesn't. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, often reflected on this idea in his personal writings. Despite ruling one of the most powerful empires in history, he never lost sight of life's fleeting nature. "You could leave life right now," he wrote. "Let that determine what you do and say and think." For Marcus, this wasn't a grim thought but a liberating one. It reminded him to live each day with purpose, to focus on his duties, and to treat others with kindness and respect. So, how can we apply this principle in our modern lives? One practical way is through daily reminders of life's impermanence. This doesn't mean obsessing over death, but rather taking a moment each day to reflect on the brevity of life. For example, you might start your morning by asking yourself, "If today were my last, how would I want to spend it?" This simple question can help you cut through distractions and focus on what truly matters, whether it's spending time with loved ones, pursuing a passion, or simply being present in the moment. Another approach is to create a physical reminder, like a small object or symbol that represents memento mori. Some people use a skull figurine, a piece of jewelry, or even a note on their desk. The goal isn't to dwell on death, but to use it as a tool for clarity and focus. When you're faced with a difficult decision or a moment of procrastination, this reminder can help you ask, does this really matter in the grand scheme of things? Here's a question to reflect on. How would you live today if you knew it was your last? Would you spend it chasing fleeting pleasures, or would you focus on what brings you meaning and joy? By remembering your mortality, you're not just confronting the inevitability of death, you're embracing the preciousness of life. This principle ties all the others together, reminding us that chaos, challenges, and even the mundane moments are all part of a finite, beautiful journey. As we wrap up this exploration of Stoic principles, remember that thriving in chaos isn't about avoiding difficulty or seeking constant comfort. It's about cultivating the inner strength, clarity, and resilience to face life's challenges with grace and purpose. Whether you're navigating personal struggles, professional setbacks, or the everyday chaos of modern life, these timeless principles offer a roadmap to not just survive but thrive. So take a deep breath, embrace the present, and remember, the power to thrive is already within you. As we come to the end of this journey through the 15 Stoic principles, it's worth taking a moment to reflect on the collective power of these timeless ideas. Together, they form a roadmap not just for surviving chaos but for thriving within it. From understanding the dichotomy of control to practicing gratitude, from embracing adversity to cultivating compassion, each principle builds on the last, creating a foundation of resilience, clarity, and purpose. At the heart of Stoicism is a simple yet profound truth. While we can't control the world around us, we can always control how we respond to it. This shift in focus, from external events to internal mastery, is what sets Stoicism apart. It's not about ignoring the chaos or pretending it doesn't exist. It's about finding calm within the storm, strength within the struggle, and meaning within the mess. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher who turned hardship into wisdom, once said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." These words remind us that true freedom isn't about escaping life's challenges, it's about mastering our relationship with them. When we stop trying to control the uncontrollable and instead focus on what's within our power, our thoughts, our actions, our character, we unlock a profound sense of inner peace and strength. So, how can you start applying these principles in your own life? Begin by reflecting on the areas where you feel most overwhelmed or stuck. Is it a situation you're trying to control that's beyond your influence? A habit of seeking external validation, or perhaps a resistance to change that's holding you back? Whatever it is, remember that the tools to navigate it are already within you. Take one principle at a time. Maybe today you focus on practicing gratitude, finding small moments of joy even in the chaos. Tomorrow, you might work on reframing a challenge as an opportunity for growth. Over time, these small shifts add up, transforming not just how you handle chaos, but how you experience life itself. As we close, I want to leave you with a question. What's one Stoic principle that resonates most with you right now? How can you start applying it in your daily life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear how these ideas are shaping your journey. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more insights on Stoicism and living with purpose. Remember, chaos isn't the enemy, it's the training ground. And with these principles as your guide, you're not just surviving the storm, you're learning to dance in the rain. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of Stoic wisdom. Until next time, stay strong, stay focused, and keep thriving.